the webinar on efficient and innovative skills for drafting research article. Dr. Muhammad Anis is an assistant professor and he is currently working as assistant professor in electronics in Department of Physics and Electronics, Maulana Azad College of Arts, Science and Commerce. Dr. Muhammad Anis had an excellent academic record and distinct research achievement. He completed his master's degree in physics and then soon he has started his research career as DST project fellow from Crystal Growth Laboratory, Department of Physics, Milia College, Bid. He was granted with Maulana Azad National Fellowship by UGC Government of India for pursuing PhD degree and awarded with PhD degree from Department of Physics, Sant Garge Baba, Amravati University in the year 2018. His field of research is crystal growth. However, the thrust area of research extends to light matter interaction and non-linear optical response in crystals and thin film as well. It amazes me to share that Anis sir has 120 international research articles to his credit, which are published in Scopus Web of Science Index Journal. In addition to his research, he has globally cited the research articles in around 2200 articles, leading to H index of 28 and I-10 index of 75. Anis sir has reviewed more than 150 research articles and established himself as recognized reviewer of various international journals governed by Elsewhere, Springer, ACS, Wiley, IOP, AIP, and other publication houses. With such a unique profile, I now humbly invite Dr. Muhammad Anis to deliver his talk. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a nice introduction. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir. First and foremost, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Abu Bakr, sir, Principal of YB Chavan College of Pharmacy. I extend my sincere thanks to the organizing committee for giving me the opportunity to share few of my experiences regarding writing a research article. I welcome you all on this day of National Education Day, which we celebrate on the birth anniversary of Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, the profound writer, freedom fighter, the first education minister, and who has been awarded with Bharat Ratna. As a tribute to Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, I dedicate today's lecture to him, to this great personality. So with this, I would like to start my today's lecture. So today I'm going to discuss about how to write a research article in a very skillful and efficient manner so that it can be acceptable or it can be submitted to various Scopus or Web of Science Index journals. This is the outline of my today's talk. I'm going to discuss about the various, the basic fundamental skeleton of research article. What are the core elements of research article? What are the different integral aspects of research article? And later on, I'm going to discuss the micro optimization of research article so that it can be more presentable or more suitable to be submitted to various reputed journals. So the basic inspiration behind writing a research article can be benefited to the researcher. It will benefit to various researcher, as well as it must benefit to the society. Keeping these two aspects into mind, these various factors play very important role. So the basic idea behind submitting or publishing and communicating any research article is to contribute novel factors to the field, to develop the peer network globally, to get the advantage in your academic as well as scientific career. And the most important factor that publication plays is it plays a bridge between whatever the things that has already been achieved and what can be achieved in future prospects in your respective field. So for an amateur researcher, if he has done some characterization, so he need to have some skill set with him. There are prerequisites that are required so that he can simply draft first. He can first draft the research article, and then he need to polish that research article. So what he need to keep in mind before scripting his research article, what are the fundamental factors that he must have clarity about, that must be taken into account. Okay, so any researcher must have a clarity about what are the objectives of writing a research article. Whatever the thing he has done, he must have the clarity that what kind of problem he is addressing in the research article. Now, this clarity can be achieved by having very scrupulous literature analysis, the understanding through authentic resources. He need to have very profound literature database. Okay. Next important factor is as you are writing a research article, you need to have very sound scientific vocabulary. You need to have a very formal language. You need to have the idea about the what are the different what format of language is required to various journals. Now, another important factor is you have to blend your text. Now, this is very important, that suppose you are writing a paragraph and you are focusing on there is some theme of your research article. So that theme must be maintained throughout the research article. There must not be break in the idea of what you are trying to explain in your research article. So you need to have very smart blending smart idea or intuition about how to blend your text, how to maintain that essence of your idea that you are trying to communicate in your research article. And finally, if you are having a different kind of figures, flowcharts, that must be presentable, that must be effectively communicative to in very instantly when a research article is communicated to any kind of research reputed journal. So in all these, all factors accumulate to the fact that the researcher must have a smart and intuitive mindset. Okay, so these are the basic prerequisites that are required or that are necessary if one is trying to write a research article. Now, if I'm an amateur student, there are n number of questions into my mind about the research article. Why? Suppose if I'm having a research article, then the title is written at the top and references are written at the bottom. Now, why such chronology is there? Why references are not placed at the top and why title is not placed at the bottom? So if you are if these questions can be organized in a very systematic manner, one can realize why such chronology or why this particular skeleton or structure of research article is designed. So let's see how these questions can be arranged in a very systematic manner, and we can obtain the skeleton basic structure of your research article. The first question one researcher should ask for himself is, what is it? Suppose I will just try to give the analogy. If there is a movie and you want to have a primary idea about the movie, okay, so the primary idea can be guessed from the what is the title of the movie, right? So this question is going to provide you the idea about the title. Okay, so the very first thing that is placed in the research article is title. Next important factor is who did it. Who are the actor, who are the producer, who are the director. So this is going to provide me the detail about the authors, right? Next important factor is where the research has been done. That can be obtained from the affiliation factor, affiliation of the author. Why to do it? Now, this is very important part of your research article. This is going to provide you the idea about the objectives of your research article, the hypothesis of the research article, and how you have taken steps to justify your hypothesis to claim the novelty that you are trying to propose in your research article. How to do it? That is the research methodology. What did you find? This is going to provide you the idea about the results and discussion. Then finally, you have what does it mean? What is the inference of your research that you have done? That is the conclusion. And finally, who did similar work before? That means what are the references that are available on the respective topic. So if you are asking if you are arranging your questionnaire in such a format, then you can probably get the answer that why this particular chronology is, why this standard format is followed by each and every journal for writing or scripting the research article. So this set of questionnaire is basically called as Bradford Hill questionnaire because it is first proposed by Bradford Hill. So this is the basic skeleton of your research article. At the very top, you have the title. You have the title, then it is followed by author and affiliation, abstract, keyword, introduction, methodology, results and discussion, conclusion. Conflict of interest and acknowledgement can be subjective. If you have some conflict of interest, you can add. If there is an acknowledgement, you can add, but you can also skip these two factors. And finally, you need to provide the references in your research article. So let's discuss each and every integral part of this the research article. So before going to discussion, I would like to highlight that if you are trying to write a research article in your mind, make sure that your research has to be very precise and it has to be very presentable. So the first thing you need to determine is what should be the content of your research article. Suppose you have done you are having some material and you have done 10 characterizations. You have done the analysis of different properties. Now you need to decide which property you want to discuss in your research article. So first you need to define or you need to finalize the content of your research article. And according to that, you need to script your research article. After you are drafting after you are finalizing the content of your research article, then you need to move on to the presentation. How the research article should be written. So the first thing is what should be written. That is the content you have to define. And after defining the content, you need to focus upon the presentation of your research article. So let's first discuss about the title. The title is the most impactful statement of your research article. Okay, right? Because it is going to provide you the instant curiosity about the research article. It is just like an elephant in the room. Okay, so let's discuss what should be the peculiar characteristics of research article.
Anisha, just one minute. Just 1 minute.
Imran sir, you can mute to all and just see that I am not muted.
Just 1 minute. It is not getting muted. You can start now, sir.
Okay. So the title basically must arouse curiosity among whoever the reader is. Okay. Title should be written such that it must instigate, it must stimulate the curiosity about reading the research article. The next important factor is the title must be precise and self-explaining. It must define what kind of work that has been carried out in your research article. Next important factor is it should reflect the theme of your work. I'm going to give an example later, later this slide, like what should be a title look like. Okay, so it must reflect the theme of your work. This is the most important thing, use of suitable keyword. Now, suppose I want to search any kind of research article. Let's take an example. I want to search a research article on COVID-19 pandemic. And I have written a research article that is completely dependent, or it is discussing about the COVID-19 pandemic. And I haven't mentioned anything about the COVID-19 in the title. Now, suppose I am searching COVID-19. Now, that particular research article is not going to be searched, or it will not be available simply because you have not used or put up the proper keyword in that particular research article. So use of suitable keyword is very important as far as title is concerned, because it is going to help the researcher to search your research article, and it will going to provide the accessibility easily to the researcher who is trying to access your research article. Next important thing is you must implicate application, or who are the beneficiaries of your research. Whatever the research that has been done, it must implicate what are the application or what are the benefits to whomsoever it may concern. So it is subjective. You can either give the application or the beneficiaries who are going to be getting who are taking advantage from that particular research. The title, this is very important. Whenever you are submitting your research article to any journal, they are going to ask you to write your title within 14 to 16 words only. If your title is exceeding beyond 14,
Anis sir, unmute yourself.
yes sir.
Yes, sir. You're audible.
So the title must be limited within 14 to 16 words only. So let's take some example of title. Okay. Now here it is given that first example is targeting cancer. Just a minute. Okay. Target deciphering the power of isolation in controlling COVID-19 outbreak. Okay. So in this particular title, it is giving me the clear idea what type of research that has been carried out in this particular research article. Now, COVID-19 is the proper keyword that they have used. Deciphering the power of isolation. Now, this is the impact, the most instigating statement in this particular. It is arousing the curiosity, deciphering the power of isolation in controlling COVID-19 outbreak. So next is eye-catching modification. Now, this particular word or this particular is used to stimulate the curiosity. Okay, what might be the eye-catching factor in this particular research article? Okay, eye-catching modification in external morphology, photoluminescence, and SHG efficiency of so-and-so crystal, a consequence of influential presence of tartaric acid. Okay, so eye-catching is the factor that is trying to stimulate, that is exaggerating the thing. Okay, so this is the arousing factor of the research article. And the further they have clearly mentioned that they have studied the influence of tartaric acid on various properties of NH4H2PO4 crystal. So in this manner, the title should be designed so that it should be self-explaining. At the same time, it must attract the reader. Okay. Next important factor is who are the beneficiaries, the authors who have carried out the particular research that has been communicated to the respective journal. The authors and the affiliation are the most important factor. Okay, so the affiliation is going to provide the exact identity of the author. First, you have to provide the clear author name. Now, again, each and every journal have its own format of writing the name. Okay, as per the guidelines of the whatever the journal you have selected for submitting your research article, you have to properly read the guidelines, and according to that only you have to write the name of the author. Then there is author affiliation. Now, author affiliation can be single or multiple. If suppose there is one author, he has a collaboration with other institute or other college, then he might have multiple affiliation. He might cite multiple affiliation in that particular context if he is having a collaboration, or whether if there is a necessity of citing that particular affiliation. Now, verified email ID is very important, because nowadays each and every journal is going to ask for verified email ID of the institution. Okay, they are asking for institutional email ID, so that they are sure that this particular author or this particular person, uh, uh, what corresponding author is belonging to so and so institution. Okay, so author and affiliation part is also important. You need to provide all the details of your institution. Now, abstract is basically the highlight of your research article. It is now, suppose I'm again and again taking the example of movie. There are two things nowadays. Suppose there is a release of the new movie has been produced, and there is a launch of movie. Before launching the movie, there are two things they try to publicize. Okay, there is a teaser and there is a trailer. So teaser is the title of your research article. Title plays the role of teaser. Instant curiosity. What is the most highlighting thing of your research article? Okay, so title plays the role of teaser, and the trailer, the role of trailer is played by the abstract. This is the highlight of your research article. So the very first thing you need to indicate in your abstract is the hello statement. Now, what do you mean by hello statement? In this particular, the first statement, you need to implicate the field. What field your topic belongs to, or what type of research you are trying to communicate in your research article. The next important factor is discuss the problem agenda. What kind of problem you are addressing in your research article? This is very important, because whenever you are trying to submit your research article, the first thing that editor follows is the abstract of your research article. Okay, so the problem agenda of your research article must be clearly indicated in your abstract, so that there is more probability of getting passed through the editorial process. The research article getting passed through the editorial process. Next important factor is explain the uniqueness of your research article, why your research article is unique, and why it should be accepted for the further editorial process in the respective journal. Next important factor is you need to highlight the core outcomes. What are the most important outcome of your research that you need to be highlighted? I am going to discuss these things in later slide. Again, you need to implicate the application or the beneficiaries in the abstract as well. And finally, the abstract, each and every journal nowadays is going to ask you to submit your abstract in a very precise manner. So you can understand that why scientific writing is very important. You need to be very critical, you need to be very precise, and you need to be very objective, because whole of your research article, you need to articulate that idea of your research within 150 to 250 words. Okay, so there is a limit to abstract as well. At the max, the journal can allow you up to 300 words. Okay, so the abstract should be written within the word limit of 150 to 250 or 300. Mostly it is 250. Okay, so most important thing, this is many of the researchers or many of the amateur researchers believe that the abstract and the conclusion are one and the same. It is not like that. Abstract is the highlight of your research article, while the conclusion is the highlight of your outcomes only. Okay, so abstract is not at all the conclusion of your research article. Abstract is the highlight of complete research article. Okay, and conclusion is giving you the bullet points of what are the actual outcomes of your research article. So abstract and conclusion both are altogether opposite things. So let's take an example. Okay, here we have Current investigation is aimed, I'm just going to read and explain. Current investigation is aimed to explore the influence of Zn2 plus ion on so and so characteristics of so and so crystal. Now, in this particular statement, the author has clearly explained that what is the problem agenda. He is trying to explore the influence of Zn2 ion on different properties of so and so crystal. Now, further he writes that to explore its widespread suitability for photonic device application. Now, very wisely, he has blended two things. He had provided the problem agenda as well as he has blended his problem with what can be the possible applications of doing this particular research in respective for the respective material. Okay. Next statement. Next statement, he says that the slow solvent evaporation technique has been adopted to grow the Zn2 plus ion influence ADP crystal. Now, this is the hello statement of the research article. It indicates that this particular field, this particular research belongs to the crystal growth field. Okay. Now he is discussing what are the different characterizations he has done. This is the highlighting point. The SHG efficiency of Zn2 ADP crystal is found to be 3.5 times greater than so and so crystal. Now this is the most important outcome. It is telling that the whatever the material that the author has grown, it is having 3.5 times higher SHG efficiency. So this is going to attract the editor that this is the attract the editor that this particular research is having so and so magnitude of the SHG efficiency, and this is the important factor for this particular crystal growth field. Again, there are different examples. High-end nonlinear optical devices demand superior quality so and so crystal to meet its necessity. To meet this necessity, slow evaporation technique is employed. Now, this particular statement is the hello statement, and later he says that to grow optical quality so and so crystal by doping tartaric acid, and specific attention is devoted to optimize the defect influence properties of KDOP crystal. Now, in later part, he is explaining the problem agenda. What he's trying to explore by doping what quality of KH2 witnesses were by doping tartaric acid. By doping tartaric acid, he is trying to optimize the defects in the KDOP crystal. So here he is explaining the problem agenda as well as he has given the possible application for nonlinear optical devices. Later, he has again explained the constructive influence of TA on hardness and elastic stiffness coefficient. Impressive role of TA is in minimizing defect density and improving. So this is the most highlighting factor. Now, in this particular research article, as he has focused on the defect central property, he is going to highlight, he has highlighted the improvement in surface growth mechanism. Okay. So in this manner, the highlighting factor can be subjective. Whatever the research you are doing, you need to identify what is the core highlight of your research article, core finding of your research article. And according to that, you have to articulate your abstract. So moving on, keywords. Now, keywords are the most important thing as far as the review process is concerned and as far as searching the research article is concerned. First, I will discuss about why these keywords are important in review process. Okay, so suppose you have submitted a research article. Now there is a very important task for editor to find the suitable reviewer for that research article. Now suppose I am a reviewer, I have to submit some database to that particular journal, and they are asking, suppose I am having the field of crystal growth, and according to that, what are the keywords of my particular research I have to submit in that particular database. Okay, suppose my work is on crystal growth and the most important keyword is crystal growth, for example, and I have some person has submitted the research article on crystal growth. Now what editor will do, he will simply scan in his database typing the respective keyword, and he will see who is the most suitable person in his database for that particular research. And if you have not submitted the keyword crystal growth in your research article, then he is not going to find me. Okay, so keywords are going to play a very important role as far as the editorial process is also concerned. You have to submit the most accurate keyword, and on the basis of that only the reviewer is going to provide the or assign the respective reviewer for that particular research article. Now, in as far as the research scholar is concerned, if I want to search the research article, different kind of research article, then I will simply, I don't know the actual complete title of the research. I'm simply, suppose I want to search the research paper on COVID-19 pandemic. So I am simply going to Google research article on COVID-19. Now, if there is a paper that is not having a keyword of COVID-19, that is not going to be reflected in my search. Okay, so keywords are going to play a very important role as far as editorial process is concerned, and also for the searching of research article for an amateur researcher as well. Okay, now you have to submit 4 to 5 keywords in, mostly they are asking for 4 to 5 keywords in each and every journal. This is the standard format for any mostly journals. Okay, so you have to submit 4 to 5 keywords. Now there are this pack numbers are basically for physics and astronomy, physics faculty. There are different fields in physics, and according to that, different fields are given the codes. You have to submit that code instead of keyword, so they can find these codes on this particular link as well. Okay, so keywords are going to play a very important role as far as your editorial process is concerned, and as far as searching the research article is concerned. Now, this is the means introduction is the most important factor of your research article, because it is going to take you on the journey from why the particular topic has been decided, what is the problem agenda, what is the literature review that you have done, and the basis of literature review, what is the problem you have identified, and depending on what problem you have defined, you have to propose an hypothesis, and you have to indicate what are the steps you have taken to justify that hypothesis. That means what novelty you are going to explore from the literature review, or from the steps that you have taken, that can be explored or that can be explained in this particular section. So introduction is very important as far as research article is concerned. Okay, so literature, the introduction section, it is going to orient the reader towards the objective of the research article. What are the main objectives of research? Why this particular topic has been decided? Why this problem has been decided? That can be concluded by reading the introduction section. Now, what are the important things that are present in the introduction section? That is, you are going to provide the significance of your field. You are going to provide the background of your field. Okay, now this introduction or background or significance of the field can be subjective. Let me put up an example. Suppose our college name is Maulana Azad College, right? Now I'm going to first I would ask you to write, if I am asking you to write an essay on history of the Maulana Azad College. And second, in second example, I'm asking you to write an essay on diversity of student in Maulana Azad College, right? So in first case, in first example, you are going to focus, your introduction will be focused more on the history of Maulana Azad, right? You are going to provide the detail of the history of the Maulana Azad College. While in second case, you will emphasize less on the history of the Maulana Azad College and more on the diversity of the student. So this introduction part is very subjective thing. You have to decide on what context you are writing the research article, what is the problem you are addressing, and according to that, you have to optimize or you have to modify the introduction section of the introduction of your topic. Next important factor is literature review. Okay, so literature review is the most important thing as far as exploring the problem agenda. If you are not having a scrupulous literature analysis of the respective field, you cannot highlight the novelty, you cannot explain the novelty to its full extent. Okay, so literature review must be done in a very scrupulous manner. You need to correlate, you need to you need to know what are the missing points of your topic. Okay, so that if you are having a scrupulous literature analysis, then and only then you can identify the research problem. What is the actual knowledge gap? Now this knowledge gap is going to provide you what problem you should pick for your further research, what knowledge gap you want to address, what new information you need to fill up. That can be only done if you are having thorough literature review of your respective field. Okay, so literature review plays very important role as far as the explaining the novelty is concerned, as far as explaining the problem agenda is concerned. Now, as you have identified the knowledge gap, you have to propose an hypothesis. You have to propose an hypothesis that in this way, I can explore or I can put up and provide a solution for that particular problem. So you have to propose the hypothesis in your introduction. Further, now if you have proposed the hypothesis, you need to provide the proper explanation or proper justification for that hypothesis. You need to explain how you are going to explore or how you are going to justify the hypothesis. What are the steps you are going to take? For this, suppose there is, I will just give you a simple example. Suppose you have entered the college and now you want to go back to your home. Now for going to your home, there can be n number of paths. In this, defining the action plan means, or justifying the hypothesis means, you need to explain what specific path you are taking to justify the hypothesis or to resolve the knowledge gap or to resolve the whatever the problem you are addressing in your introduction section, in your research article. So introduction plays very important role. And let me emphasize you that literature is much more than a literature review. Most of the researchers, most of the people have this misconception that literature introduction is simply a literature review. Introduction is much more than a simple literature review, right? Introduction includes what it means, introduces the topic. It provides you the literature, analyze the literature. It provides you the information about problem agenda. It provides the hypothesis, and it provides you the next action plan that you have proposed to achieve the novelty. So introduction is simply the core factor of your research article, which is much more than a literature review. So now this, I will just give you the essence of this particular topic. This is based on chirality of the molecule. Okay, so there is one molecule that is having two structures, and the author is trying to synthesize or develop the structure by using different method. So in introduction, first they have introduced the field. They have provided, they are highlighting the concept of chirality. Okay, now then they are specifically talking about the molecule that is D or dextro L molecule that is D and L, D and L rotation of the particular molecule. Okay, after that they are pointing out towards the problem. They have found that they have enantiomerical property in that particular molecule. So they are going to now they have highlighted or indicated towards the problem. They are going to focus upon the enantiomer property of that particular molecule. Building the hypothesis, they have later they have discussed about why and how this particular molecule has been selected and what can be done depending on the literature review. Supporting material for hypothesis using literature. Okay, then explaining why this particular why it is important. Okay, so they have explained the commercial aspect of this particular developing the molecule, the commercial aspect of developing this particular molecule. Okay, next important factor is naming various method. Now what naming various method means, they have provided different ways in which the molecule can be known, or that particular chiral structure can be obtained, and out of that different steps they have selected only one, and they have provided the justification for adopting that particular scheme. Okay, so selecting method and justifying why that particular, out of n number of methods, they have selected one particular step. Okay, so they have proposed the plan of action for achieving the hypothesis or justifying the hypothesis. Next, what is your goal, what you are trying to achieve, that they have explained in this particular section. So introduction is going to provide you this the detail about what are the actual things you are going to communicate in your research article. Okay, in a very systematic manner. Next important factor in research article is methodology. What are the important steps that you have adopted to achieve your results? Okay, this is also important, so that if you have done some kind of research and I want to repeat this, I want to assure whatever the result that you have published are right, then I can repeat this process. And to repeat that process, research methodology should be mentioned in the research article. So research methodology plays very important role as far as assurity is concerned, repeatability is concerned, or confirming the results are concerned. So the very first step that you need to provide is systematic procedure to reproduce. What are the proper steps you have followed, that should be mentioned in your methodology section. Next is specification of material or models that are used. Suppose I am synthesizing one material and I am taking two chemicals for that, A and B, and the product, my product is C. So I need to provide the actual configuration of A and B. Suppose I am taking glycine, I need to provide the chemical formula of that chemical. I need to provide what is the molar concentration I am using. I need to provide the molecular weight. Okay, and in what proportion I'm using for making the compound. Okay, so I need to provide proper specifications of whatever the steps that I have carried out in my research. How material or models are processed. Suppose you are synthesizing a material and you are synthesizing that material on certain temperature. Okay, or you have provided or you have dried that material, or you have done the calcination of that material at certain temperature. So you need to provide the specific conditions that you have provided, you have maintained throughout the synthesis process. Next is what were the conditions. Again, you have to provide the proper conditioning of the system. Procedure should be systematic and reproducible. Now, this is very important. You must not hide any of the procedure step. Okay, and they must be provided such that I can reproduce. Suppose you have followed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps in this chronology, and I am writing the same thing. I am providing this step in 1, 5, 4, 3, 2. Now I cannot reproduce by performing the experiment by taking the step 1, 5, 2, 3, 2. Right? So whatever the steps you have followed, you must provide the same chronology, and the same configuration should be provided in the research and methodology, so that one can reproduce those results and one can confirm those results. And it is also important, if I can optimize those things, then these procedure steps will play very important role when it comes to the progress or optimization of the particular material is concerned. So this is one of the typical example of experimental procedure. Okay, here they have provided the name of the molecule. Then they have provided which company they have, company name of the chemical, what is the concentration, 4:1, and there are different weight, what are the concentration of different dopant and molecule that has been used, that is provided. They have also, if the pH is mentioned, pH is maintained, they have provided the magnitude of the pH that is maintained. There is a temperature 300 degrees Celsius. They have provided, so each and every detail need to be provided in your experimental procedure section. Now many of the researchers, they try to split this, they try to add one more factor to the research and methodology section. They divide this into two parts. One is the synthesis part and another one is the characterization part. Okay, so in characterization section, you need to give the detail of the instrument and what kind of analysis you have done using that particular instrument, you have to provide in this particular section. So you have to provide the detail of the instrument and what are the different parameters that you have set for the particular results that you have obtained for the respective instrument. Okay, so characterization techniques, in characterization technique, you need to define what are the different instruments you have used for the analysis of different properties. Don't take it otherwise. Results and discussion is the heart of your research article. So this is the most important section. This is going to provide you what are the outputs of your research article, and you need to justify each and every outcome of your research by proper literature and scientific discussion. So what should be the ideal structure of your results and discussion section? It must have subsection. Now suppose I am having a cupboard, I want to search my accessories very easily, then I need to systematically arrange those things. So suppose I am having, I have done 10 characterization. Suppose I have done UV, XRD, FTIR, Raman, or NMR, like this, there are different characterization. So I should indicate the name of the characterization that I have done. Okay, UV. So if a reader has to jump directly to XYZ characterization, then he can easily find that characterization in the particular research article. And it is also important to reviewer. Sometimes reviewer wants to, suppose you have provided 4 to 5 characterization, and reviewer is having more expertise and reviewer is more interested in looking into 5th characterization. So he can easily jump to that 5th characterization. He don't need to go through all the text. Okay, so you need to provide subsections in your results and discussion section so that it could be easily accessible to reviewer and as reader. Okay, so subsections should be provided in your research article. Justification of the true findings, whatever the results that you have obtained, you need to provide scientific justification of each and every result. It should be justified logically, as well as it should have a scientific base. Okay, and also you can compare your result to highlight your result more properly. You can compare your result with previously reported database. That could emphasize your result more, because you have obtained something that has not, suppose you have obtained a much better result than previously reported. How the reviewer is going to identify that. How a reviewer can notify that, how you can notify that to the reviewer. Okay, so you can provide a tabulated data in which you are going to provide your result, and you are providing a table that is providing the previously published data. Okay, so now reviewer can easily point out that, he can easily recognize that the particular data that you have reported is very much important or very much significant as compared to previously reported data. So this is going to increase the chances of acceptability of your research article in the respective journal. So first you need to provide justification of your result. Then next step is to highlight or signify your result. You need to compare your data with the previously reported data. Next is support and compare with literature, that I have already discussed. Okay, so prefer active voice and use proper fillers. Now this particular factor I'm going to discuss later in further slide. Okay, you need to use proper phrases, you need to use proper way of communication in the formal way of communication in the research article. Organize tables and figures. This is the most important part of your presentation. Okay, so I'm going to discuss it later. This is the part of the result and discussion section. Now it is well established. This particular statement is used. It is well established. Okay, now you need, as I have said, you need to blend or you need to maintain the flow of the text. Okay, now instead of it is well established, I would have written the. Okay, I cannot start each and every sentence with the. Okay, you need to maintain the flow of the text as well. It should be readable, as well as it should be written such that the flow of the text, the flow of the idea should be maintained. Okay, so these particular, in order to find the effect of ND3 ion. Now instead of that, I would have started my sentence with the effect of ND3 ion. It wouldn't have make a difference, but this is what I am talking, that this is nothing but the formal way of communication. Okay, this is the formal way of communication. Now here it is written that it is interesting to note that. Now instead of that, it is found, I would have written it is found that, but I have used it is interesting. Now this is going to encourage the reader or encourage the reviewer that something is important in this particular statement. Okay, so this is going to improve your chances of acceptability. Also, it is going to easily encourage the reviewer to identify, to highlight the important aspect of your particular research data that you have communicated in your result and discussion section. Now further, I will specifically read this statement. It is interesting to note that the transmittance of so and so crystal is enhanced by 18% due to influence of Nd3 plus ion, which impressively assists to overcome the internal scattering and absorption of light within crystal. Now what the author has indicated, that due to the doping of so and so Nd3 ion, the transmittance has increased by 18%. Now further he is extending his statement. That due to this 18% increase, there is now why it is achieved due to less internal scattering and absorption of light within crystal. Now there are three aspects he has explained. First, the doping is done, and due to doping, 18% transmittance is increased. Now this transmittance is increased bilaterally due to doping, and due to doping, it has minimized the internal scattering and absorption in that crystal. So he has explained two things. Nd3 has enhanced. At the same time, he said that Nd3 has reduced the internal scattering, and due to that 18% transmittance has been achieved. Okay, so in this way, the blending of text can be achieved, or it can you can optimize your text. okay, more impressively. In this way, there are different factors. Now, it is reported, let's take this statement. It is reported that the presence of amine group enhances the band gap of material. Okay, so this due to doping of amino group, the band gap of material has been enhanced. Now, see that I have used which stands true in case of. Now, instead of that, I have used which may be due to. Okay, now which may be due to is also accurate, but this is the formal way of communication, which stands true in case of. Okay, now in case of indicates that I am specifically talking about this particular case. Okay, if I am writing which is due to, it will be a generalized statement. Now what I have written is which stands true in case of. Now further, in case, as soon as I say that in case of, it means that I am talking about this particular case only. Okay, so again, there is this is a statement which advocates its potential candidate for optoelectronic device application. So in this manner, you can blend your text so that it can increase the acceptability of your research article. Okay, it can appeal the research, it can appeal the reader. Also, at the same time, it can appeal the reviewer. So in this particular section, see, this is the typical example of scientific justification. Okay, the intensity dependent SHG response of pure and T ADP crystal is shown in figure 4a. Efficiency of T ADP crystal is found to be 1.28 times that of ADP. Now this part is the scientific justification. The coordination of thiourea with phosphate group via H bonding network facilitates high mobility of path for charge transfer, which might be the driving functional mechanism fostering the high SHG efficiency in T-ADP crystal. Now, if I'm not submitting this statement, if I'm not providing this scientific justification, this will let the reviewer down. This will raise the query to the reviewer, and he can ask you that provide the justification for this enhancement. Why this typical enhancement is observed. Okay, so the scientific justification is very important as far as your research acceptability is concerned, and also it is going to increase the scientific merit of your research article. Okay, it is going to raise the scientific merit of your research article. Next, you have to provide the table in a given format that each and every journal is providing the guideline, and in that format you have to provide the table for you have to present the table or submit the table to the journal. They are also providing you the resolution of the figure. The resolution should be is also specified in the guidelines. And also in some cases there is a x-axis and y-axis legend is given in this particular figure, right? So there is also the formatting, typical format for journal of the legend also. Okay, what is the title of the x and y-axis, that is also to be provided in specific format. So you need to check the guideline for author for whichever journal you are trying to submit. Okay, so this is the final part of your the final, before the final part of your research article, you will find the conclusion section of your research article. So conclusion is nothing but the inference of your research article. Whatever the things you have done that need to be summarized in the conclusion section. You have to provide the complete summary of the finding. You have to provide the numerical data in the conclusion section. Next, you need to project every outcome. Suppose you are providing, you have done 4 to 5 characterization. Then you have to independently write the outcome of each and every output of each and every analysis that you have done. In this particular section, you have to be very precise, because the conclusion part is also to be limited in, there is also a limit of words for the conclusion section as well. Okay, so you need to provide the outcome of each and every analysis that you have performed. Okay, this is important. What is the inference of your research that you have done? Okay, that need to be communicated in the conclusion. Next is the discussion of application. Definitely, if you are performing some research, that has to be beneficial to develop the field, or for the progress of the field, or for the benefit of some entity. Okay, so you need to accordingly define what is the application or the benefit of whatever the research that you have performed, and implicate the future development. Now, there are some research that are going to that play a leading that is going to provide the leading end to the future aspects. Okay, suppose I have done some research and that can be extended in some way or the other, then you can hint that leading end in the conclusion section. Okay, so you can also implicate the future development that can be achieved in the conclusion section. Next, this conflict of interest and acknowledgement are the part, are the subjective part. If you have some conflict of interest, then you can definitely communicate to the journal. If you have the conflict of interest, can be either in case of collaboration, in case of money, or it can be anything. So you can clearly communicate the conflict of interest. There is an acknowledgement if you have taken help from someone, if you have taken help for the characterization, if you have taken the help for interpretation, then acknowledgement can be subjective. You can also, if you are if you have been granted with project, then you can acknowledge the government that has facilitated you with facilities and the grants for the particular research. So in this particular section, you can mention this is completely, these two things are subjective things. Okay, they can vary. Now, reference section is very important. You need to do literature analysis. You need to provide proper justification. You need to compare your data with the previously reported data. So where the references should be added? So references are very necessary throughout the research article. You have to cite the research articles in the introduction section. You have to cite the research references in the results and discussion section, except the conclusion section. You can cite the references in all the sections, except the abstract, conclusion, and the title. You can cite the references in all the sections of your research article. Even in the experimental procedure also, you can cite the reference. But which parts are excluded? Conclusion, then there is abstract, and there is title. In these three things, you cannot cite references. And other than that, you can cite references wherever it is necessary accordingly. Okay, why should we add? So this is obvious. We are doing the literature analysis. The problem agenda has been identified through literature analysis. So it is very important in introduction section. And in case you are comparing the data in results, and you are giving a tabulated part there, you are providing comparing the data in tabulated part, then also you have to provide from where you have taken this particular data. You have to acknowledge that author for that particular section. The references are provided, are necessary in that particular case. Okay, and how many references? So this is again a how many references is a very subjective thing. It can vary from 3 to, means it is completely subjective to whatever the journal or what kind of work you are providing, of what length you are providing. It will depend completely on the researcher, how much references he need to add. But try to be very selective in case of references. You cannot cite many more references unnecessarily. If they are redundant references, try to avoid those references. Okay, so what should be the actual way in which the research article should be written? Okay, this has to be uh, this is very important part. Okay, so very first thing you are going to have with yourself is the data. Okay, that can be in tabular form, or that can be in figure form, or that can be in flow chart form, right? So very first thing you are going to have is tabulated data or figure data. Okay, then you have to define what is the methodology that you have adopted to perform that, to obtain that particular result. Okay, followed by that is the result and discussion. Then you need to write the conclusion part. Okay, methodology. Then you need to discuss results and discussion. After that you will write the conclusion, and after the conclusion you have to write the introduction part. You might be telling that sir, we are having title at the very first position, then there is introduction, but the for writing a research article, this cycle should be adopted. Okay, this is the standard cycle that has been adopted. Okay, and this is the most effective and convenient way to write a research article. Okay, conclusion part is there, then introduction, abstract, then you have to select the specific keywords for your research article, and then you are going to decide the title of your research article. And finally, after the title, you are going to decide so very first thing you are going to have the data. After that, you must write the methodology. After that, you should discuss the result, justify the result, and after the justification, you need to provide the inference of your research that you have performed. Later to that, you have to write the introduction, abstract, keyword, and then finally title should be assigned to your research article. So this cycle should be followed when it comes to writing a research article. Okay, so next, as in a very previous slide, I have said that whenever I am going to write a research article, first I have to define the content of the research article. So till now, what we have discussed is what should be the content of the research article. Okay, and what are the peculiar characteristics of the content of the research article. Now we are going to focus more upon the presentation of the research article. Now comes to the micro tuning of your research article. So let's discuss about the tuning of research article. So how you can tailor the research article, how you can fine tune the research article, you can avoid poor writing. Okay, poor writing should be avoided. Sentence formation must be very precise. Okay, next you need to provide proper punctuations, because punctuation plays very important role when it comes to joining two or more ideas that you are trying to explain in your research article. Eliminate redundant words. That is very important, because eliminating redundant words is going to help you in a manner that whenever you are submitting a research article, the journal is going to ask you to write the research article within the limit of so and so word. They are going to ask you to write the research article within 3,000 or 4,000 words, right? So you have to eliminate the redundant words that are present in your research article. You can use synonyms for different synonyms for in your research article. And finally, you have to prepare your journal. You have to focus on whatever the instruction for authors that are provided by the respective journal that you are trying to submit. Okay, so what are the deficiencies that majorly occur in your research writing? What things you need to focus while writing a research article or fine tuning the research article? Okay, so there is proper sentence formation should be there. You need to use proper voice of your sentence. Okay, now I just want to highlight that whenever you are trying to, you have, suppose you have selected the particular journal, first download few have few of the journal, few of the papers of that particular journal. and read the format of the writing format of that journal. Some of the journal are asking you, or the way they communicate, they are some are having in present tense or continuous tense. Okay, so you need to be very wise, or you need to identify what format is necessary, or what format of writing the sentence is followed by the respective journal. Okay, so sample has been analyzed by various techniques. This is present perfect continuous tense. This is mostly followed in the journal, and sample is analyzed by various techniques. Okay, so you need to identify what kind of writing tense is followed by the respective journal.
Anisa?
Yes, sir.
Sir, the duration is somewhat less because at 5:30 might be the link will get closed.
Okay, sir. I will be finishing by that time.
Okay, because we have to give the feedback form also, and some questionnaires is also there. If any questions.
Okay, sir. I will try to run up. Okay, no problem.
Okay.
So next, voice should be, as I said, active voice should be communicated. The singular, plural, what should be taken care of. This is the typographical errors that you need to be very careful while writing a research article. You need to avoid spelling mistakes, and vocabulary should be proper in your research article. So proper sentence formation should be there. Whether you are having a simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentences, redundant should be eliminated. These are the few examples. Suppose I have to write, I am writing 12 midnight, but midnight is suffice. That is explaining the complete thing. Enhanced high value. Now high is the redundant word, so I can write high value. Like that, there are different, you need to eliminate the redundants from your research article. You can use the synonyms. Okay, synonyms should be used. Proper punctuations are used for connecting different ideas. Okay, they play a different role while writing your while writing. Finally, we have you need to be very concerned about the guideline for author that are provided by the journal. You have to strictly follow the guidelines from the journal, and according to that, you have to prepare or format your manuscript. Each and everything has to be formatted as per the guideline of the journal before submitting to the editorial process. Okay, so I hope I have justified and properly explained all the things, and I think we can take the questions from the audience.
Thank you very much, sir, for enlightening all of us with your valuable talk. Students, in your chat box, I have sent the feedback form. So just copy that particular feedback form, and students,